Rain hammered the pavement outside Dalton High. A lone girl sat on the cold, wet concrete, her school uniform clinging to her skin. Her hand rested on her swollen belly. Her name was Emily Hart, 17, a scholarship student. The world had closed its doors on her. The school's front lights glowed through the downpour. Moments earlier, her principal had told her she could not return. Her foster parents had sent her away last night. She had nowhere to go. A black Toyota SUV rolled to a stop in front of her. From the driver's seat, a man in a tailored black suit stepped out. His presence was commanding even in the rain. His name was Adrian Cross, 32, CEO of Cross Industries. 6 of his security men followed, forming a line behind him. Adrian ignored them and walked toward the girl. Emily didn't lift her head. She expected judgment, another order to leave. Instead, an umbrella appeared over her. Adrian knelt, the rain sliding down his coat. He didn't speak at first. His sharp blue eyes searched hers, confused and concerned. "Why are you out here like this?" His voice was low, steady. Emily's lips trembled. "They don't want me anymore." "No one does." He saw the truth in her eyes, the tremor in her voice. Something in her condition pierced through his hardened exterior. He was a man known for boardroom battles, not compassion. Yet here he was, kneeling in a storm for a girl he had never met. Behind him, one of his men shifted uneasily. Adrian didn't look back. He held the umbrella closer, shielding her from the rain. Emily's soaked blazer clung to her body. She shivered. "Come on," Adrian said quietly. "Let's get you out of the rain." She hesitated. "You don't even know me." "I don't need to know you to see you're in trouble." For a second, something warm flickered in her chest, but fear drowned it. "If people see me with you, they'll—" Her voice cracked. "They'll think things." "Let them think," Adrian replied. "You matter more than their whispers." Emily looked at him properly for the first time. His suit was perfect, his shoes polished even as water pooled around them. He looked like everything she wasn't, powerful, untouchable, and yet he was here. She forced herself to stand, her legs shaky. Adrian held out a hand, steady and sure. She didn't take it at first. Trust was dangerous, but the storm was merciless, and she was tired of standing alone. She reached for him. The moment their hands met, something shifted. The world didn't change, but for the first time in months, she didn't feel invisible. He guided her toward the SUV. The other men stepped aside, curious but silent. Adrian opened the door for her. She slid inside, her wet hair sticking to her face. The interior smelled of leather and cedar. Adrian handed her a clean handkerchief from the console. "Dry your face. You're safe now." She gripped the cloth, staring at him. "Why are you helping me?" Adrian paused, rain still pounding the roof. His jaw tightened. "Because once, someone saved me when I thought no one would. I'm just returning what was given." Emily's throat tightened. She wanted to ask more, but exhaustion pressed down on her. Her eyelids fluttered as the warmth of the car seeped in. Adrian closed the umbrella, glanced back at his team, and signaled for them to follow. The SUV pulled away from Dalton High, the rain swallowing the school behind them. Emily leaned her head against the window, watching the blurred lights fade. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't running. She didn't know where they were going, or what waited for her next. But something deep inside whispered that her life had just taken a turn she could never have imagined. Adrian glanced at her reflection in the glass. He didn't know why he had stopped, why this girl mattered. But a strange certainty settled in him. This was not a random encounter. It was the beginning of something that would change them both forever. Adrian glanced at her reflection in the glass. The city lights streaked past in blurred trails. Emily's small frame looked even smaller against the wide leather seat. Her hands rested on her belly as if guarding the tiny life inside. He broke the silence first. "What's your name?" She hesitated. "Emily. Emily Hart. I'm Adrian," he said simply. "No title, no CEO, just a name." Emily's voice was low. "You don't need to do this." Adrian kept his eyes on the road ahead. "I stopped because I wanted to." The wipers squeaked over the windshield. For a moment, the hum of the engine filled the SUV. The city's glow faded as they turned onto a quieter street lined with tall glass towers. Emily shifted uneasily. "Where are we going?" A place that's warm and safe, Adrian said. You'll rest there tonight. She eyed him, doubtful. And tomorrow? We'll figure tomorrow out when it comes. She pressed her lips together, the weight of her situation settling again. Her school uniform was damp and wrinkled. She had no bag, no phone, no plan. The thought of stepping into a stranger's world frightened her. The convoy of black SUVs stopped in front of a modern apartment building. Glass and steel glimmered under the streetlights. Adrian stepped out first, umbrella in hand. He opened her door. Emily hesitated, then followed. Water pooled around her shoes as she stepped onto the pavement. Security men flanked them but kept their distance. Adrian led her through the lobby, past marble floors and muted lighting. The receptionist didn't question him. Everyone here knew who Adrian Cross was. The elevator ride was silent. Emily's heart raced. She had grown up in foster homes and cramped apartments. She had never seen a place like this. When the elevator doors opened, a sleek penthouse stretched out before her. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the skyline. Soft lights warmed the room. Adrian placed the umbrella aside. You can sit anywhere. Emily stepped inside carefully, as if the room might reject her. She touched the edge of a couch, its fabric smooth beneath her fingers. Are you hungry? Adrian asked. She shook her head. I'm fine. You're not fine, he said gently. But that's okay. He disappeared briefly and returned with a soft blanket. He draped it over her shoulders. She clutched it, surprised by the simple kindness. Adrian sat across from her, studying her face. Who did this to you? Emily looked away. Someone I trusted. He didn't press. His jaw tightened, but his voice stayed calm. And your parents? They're gone. I've been in the system since I was 10. Adrian leaned back, exhaling slowly. The weight in her voice reminded him of battles he thought he had buried. Emily traced a raindrop on the window with her fingertip. People think CEOs have everything, but I'm guessing you don't pick up strangers in the rain every day. A corner of his mouth lifted slightly. No, but sometimes the right stranger shows up. She swallowed hard. I don't want charity. This isn't charity, Adrian replied. It's a choice. Thunder rolled outside. The city lights flickered against the glass. Emily wrapped the blanket tighter. For the first time in days, the tight knot in her chest loosened slightly. Adrian stood. The guest room is down the hall. You'll be safe there tonight. Emily rose slowly, her legs still trembling. She followed him to a softly lit room with clean sheets and a small dresser. She paused in the doorway. Thank you. Adrian, he nodded once. Rest. When the door closed behind her, Adrian lingered in the hallway. He stared out the window at the city below, questions circling in his mind. He didn't know why he had opened his world to her. But deep down, he sensed that walking away from her tonight would have been the greatest mistake of his life. And as the storm raged outside, Emily lay awake in the unfamiliar bed, clutching the blanket. For the first time in months, she allowed herself to imagine a future. One she wasn't sure she deserved, but one she couldn't stop hoping for. Emily woke to sunlight spilling across the guest room floor. For a moment, she didn't know where she was. The bed was too soft, the air too quiet. Then the memories of last night came rushing back. The rain, the SUV, the stranger who wasn't a stranger anymore. She pushed herself up slowly, one hand instinctively on her belly. The baby shifted under her palm, a small reminder of the life she had to protect. Outside the door, the smell of coffee drifted through the air. She followed it to the open kitchen, where Adrian stood at the counter, sleeves rolled to his elbows, a mug in his hand. He looked less like a CEO and more like a man caught between worlds. You're awake, he said, offering a faint smile. How are you feeling? A little better, Emily admitted. She glanced around the expansive apartment, unsure where to place her hands. I should go. You've already done enough. You have nowhere to go, Adrian said plainly. And I'm not sending you back out there. Emily flinched. People will talk. You're a CEO, She trailed off. You're a girl who needs a safe place, Adrian interrupted. That's all anyone needs to know. The doorbell rang sharply. Adrian's security detail entered without waiting. The man in front handed Adrian a folder. We pulled what you asked for, he said, then left. Adrian opened the folder at the counter. Emily caught a glimpse of documents, photos, and a name she didn't want to see, Daniel Reeves. Her breath caught. "You looked him up," she whispered. Adrian's expression hardened. "He's the father, isn't he?" Emily's throat tightened. "It doesn't matter. He doesn't want this baby." "He doesn't want me." Adrian closed the folder, his voice low. "Men like that don't deserve a second chance." Emily stared at him, unsure why his anger on her behalf felt like a lifeline. She wrapped her arms around herself, wishing she could disappear. Adrian's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, then back at her. "I have a meeting downtown. Stay here, rest. I'll be back soon." "I don't belong here," Emily whispered. "You do now," Adrian said firmly. When he left, the apartment felt too big, too quiet. Emily wandered through the living room, staring at the skyline beyond the glass. For the first time, she allowed herself to breathe. She walked to the window, tracing her reflection with her fingertip. She remembered nights spent in shelters, the sound of strangers crying in the dark. She remembered Daniel's promises, how they had turned to ash the moment she told him she was pregnant. Tears stung her eyes. She wiped them away quickly. She couldn't afford to fall apart. A sudden knock startled her. She opened the door a crack. A well-dressed older woman stood there holding a small bag. "I'm Mara," the woman said kindly. "Mr. Cross asked me to bring you some things." Emily stepped aside. Mara placed the bag on the couch. A few maternity clothes, toiletries, and a simple phone. "He thought you might need a way to reach him," Mara explained. "He doesn't like leaving people unprotected." Emily's chest tightened. She had known Adrian less than a day, but already he had done more for her than anyone else. After Mara left, Emily sat on the couch, running her fingers over the phone. A message notification blinked, a single line from Adrian. "You're safe." "Don't worry." She pressed the phone to her chest. "Safe." The word felt foreign, almost dangerous. As dusk approached, city lights blinked alive outside. Adrian returned, his tie loosened, his expression weary. But when he saw her sitting there, something in his face softened. "I ordered dinner," he said quietly. "We should talk." Emily nodded, her heart unsteady. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but she knew the storm outside was nothing compared to the one building inside her heart. And somewhere deep down, Adrian Cross understood that helping her had already changed everything he thought he knew about his own life. Adrian set 2 plates on the table. The city lights flickered against the glass, casting soft shadows across the room. Emily sat quietly, her hands folded over her belly. "Eat," Adrian said gently. "You need strength." She took a small bite, her voice almost a whisper. "No one has ever cared like this." Adrian met her eyes. "You deserve more than what you've been given." Silence stretched between them, heavy but not uncomfortable. Emily's thoughts drifted to the life growing inside her, to the world she feared it would enter. "Why are you really doing this?" she asked. Adrian's jaw tightened. "Years ago, I was left on my own. Someone stepped in and saved me. I swore I'd do the same if I ever could." A tear slid down her cheek. She looked away, but he reached across the table, steady and calm. "You're not alone anymore," he said. The knock on the door came sudden and sharp. Adrian stood, his posture shifting to guarded control. Outside, Daniel Reeves stood dripping from the rain, his expensive jacket clinging to him. His eyes darted to Emily. "You disappeared," Daniel said coldly. "And you're with him?" Emily's voice shook, but her words were clear. "You left me. You left us." Daniel's gaze flickered to her stomach, then to Adrian. "This isn't your problem." Adrian stepped forward. "It became my problem the moment you walked away." The room filled with tension, but Emily didn't cower. She took a deep breath. "We don't need you." Daniel hesitated, then turned and vanished into the rain. The door clicked shut. Adrian looked at Emily. "He won't hurt you again." Emily nodded, a fragile but real smile breaking through. They stood by the window as the storm cleared, the city glowing beneath them. Emily felt the weight on her chest ease for the first time. She whispered, "Maybe this is the beginning." Adrian placed a hand over hers on her belly. "It is," he said softly. "A sweet life starts now."